Good Wednesday morning. This is the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for this Wednesday, February 3rd. We take a look at the observed precipitation over the past 7 days. Heavy amounts across California up into Oregon. Also some heavier amounts across the mountains of north central Nevada into the Wasatch and parts of southern and southeastern Idaho, as well as down in near Cedar City area in southern Utah. If we look at the right-hand panel to see how that plays out in terms of above or below normal, you can see that's basically above to much above normal precipitation, those purplish shades across most of Nevada into Utah, much closer to normal and even drier than normal as you head into portions of central and central eastern Idaho. Looking at the satellite and upper level map imagery, we can see that high pressure building in strongly now across the west coast of California, pushing all the way up into the Pacific Northwest and well up into British Columbia and actually off the map into parts of Alaska. That is why this moisture that you see with this enhanced cloud cover, as it hits this brick wall of high pressure, that moisture gets sheared apart, with most of the energy transferring well off to the north, keeping us mainly dry. Looking at overall dispersion this Wednesday afternoon, we look at the ventilation index, which is a combination of vertical transport with mixing heights as well as combined with transport flow in the horizontal or transport winds. And you can see most of the area in red, better across Idaho, a lot more yellows and some whites, which indicates a much better overall dispersion. These little cells of purple indicate the lowest areas of dispersion, and that's basically where we have the most stagnation. Now, if we look at what causes these values, it's a combination of both the transport winds on the left. You can see they're quite light across southern Nevada, southern Utah, but they get progressively stronger as you head further north, especially going up into parts of southern Idaho. On the vertical mixing side, very poor across the Great Basin, which is typical this time of year. A bit better across the higher terrain of the Uintas, and significantly better vertical mixing as you head up into Idaho this afternoon. Now, to see how things go over the next couple of days, we look at Thursday afternoon. You see that ridge of high pressure building in, pushing that moisture that's moving onshore to our north. And as high pressure builds in, you notice these areas in purple, our lowest overall ventilation value gets bigger across Nevada and into parts of Utah. Still overall not too bad of a dispersion issue as you head further north and to the east. If we break that down in terms of transport winds, again lightest across Nevada and southern Utah, but still quite strong in terms of transport flow across parts of Idaho and far northeastern Utah. Overall vertical mixing, again, poor across most of the Great Basin, but significantly better points north and eastward. If we look at Friday afternoon, you see that high pressure ridge settles over the area. So on the right-hand side, you see that overall ventilation is quite poor. That area in purple starts expanding across Nevada into parts of Utah. We also see a bit more red up here across parts of southern Idaho. So that dispersion does start getting worse. Breaking it down into its individual components, we can see that transport winds on the left still, again, light across most of the Great Basin, at least Nevada and Utah. A bit stronger in the higher elevations along the Wasatch areas and as well as over the higher terrain of Idaho. Mixing heights overall across the Great Basin remain fairly poor in most areas. One of our more localized tools for dispersion is the Utah Clearing Index produced by the National Weather Service in Salt Lake City. Lighter colors indicating better overall dispersion. Bluish to purple indicates worse, and you can see here on Wednesday afternoon across the northwest desert areas significantly worse, but across the Wasatch, Uintas, and points eastwards, the overall dispersion is significantly better, but you see the trend as you go through Thursday. Dispersion starts to decrease a little bit, and especially Friday as high pressure builds in, our dispersion conditions will significantly dissipate. The best, still marginally good across the higher terrain of the Uintas. Now, if we look at expected precipitation from this Wednesday afternoon through Saturday afternoon, you can see that overall, most of the precipitation will be sliding up into Idaho and the Pacific Northwest. Very light trace amounts across parts of Nevada and across the Wasatch, basically less than 1/10 of an inch. So maybe a dusting to an inch of snowfall should just about do it. Now, if we go further down the road, looking at Saturday afternoon on the left upper level map, show high pressure starting to build on in, drier air. Interestingly enough, we lose a lot of the purples, and the reason for that might be increasing sunshine could improve things a little bit. Also, if you look on the left, the high is not over us yet, so we're getting a little bit of transport flow out of the northwest, so still not too bad. As we go into Sunday and the high pressure builds and gets significantly stronger, we see that purple shade of lowest overall dispersion start getting bigger across Nevada. See areas in red spreading further to the east across Utah and Idaho. If we go into Monday afternoon, the high pressure center is over us, and look at that area of purple expanse, so poor overall dispersion just about everywhere. Nowhere for that smoke to go, but get stratified and kept close to the ground level. If we look at precipitation during this time period, really not much at all. As we go from Sunday into next Monday or Tuesday, we're looking at, actually this is Saturday afternoon to Monday afternoon, not much in the way of precipitation. Further down the road, Monday afternoon to next Wednesday, again, most of the west stays quite dry, a break in what has been a fairly wet El Nino pattern for the southern and central Rockies and California. If we look further down the road at the 2-week outlook, the 8 to 14-day outlook from the Climate Prediction Center in NOAA, you can see warmer than normal temperatures, again continuing across most of our region. Drier than normal. This is an anomaly. Usually this area here through Arizona and California has been wetter than normal, but we're seeing a brief break in that El Nino pattern. Don't know how long that will last, but it should be pretty prevalent into next week. This concludes our briefing. Our next briefing will be coming up this next Monday. Have a great day.